If you love watching bullies get beaten up, rivals settling scores, and charged high schoolers brawling at random places with classic karate moves, you've come to the right place. Popular Netflix show Cobra Kai's fights are usually fair and even, but there's been times we saw some pretty brutal and fun to witness one-sided bouts. In today's video, we look into the 10 most interesting one-sided Cobra Kai bouts ever. Sitting at number 10 is Tori versus Devin. At number 10, we have Devin Lee versus Tori. Lee, who is a newcomer to the Cobra Kai cast, has quickly become a fan fave for her no-nonsense attitude and brilliance. She is also seen doing incredibly well in the All Valley as Eagle Fang's lone female participant. However, with all that being said, Devin really stood no chance against Tori, who happens to be one of Cobra Kai's most motivated and influential members. Tori puts Devin down brutally, without letting her score any points in one of the most one-sided bouts on the show. To her credit though, Devin had been anxious to return in future All Valley competitions to establish herself as a champion, and she did. Next, at number 9, Piper versus Sam. Piper is another new Cobra Kai member who appears in the 4th season. Despite her lack of experience and expertise, she is naturally athletic and seems to learn quickly, which leads her to believe that she's capable of facing everyone. And boy is she wrong. During the All Valley competition, her overconfidence makes her take Sam easy, which doesn't go down too well for her. Assuming the Miyagi-Do method is purely defense, Piper is caught off guard when Sam moves to the attacking Eagle Fang technique. She not only gets a brutal thrashing, but also a reality check about her lack of experience and mental resilience after becoming a mere statistic on Sam's path to the finals. Poor her. Now, we have Silver versus Johnny. Though Johnny never gets to meet Terry Silver in the original movie, he does get to know him in the 4th season of Cobra Kai. The two face off when Johnny is annoyed that Silver is trying to buy his son's allegiance with money and ends up being drawn to the old Cobra Kai dojo in order to confront Silver personally, to teach him a lesson of course. More overconfidence. Johnny is then attacked and beaten down there, much like Daniel was years ago, but actually worse because he is a bleeding, huffing, puffing mess that no one saw coming. He clearly didn't stand much of a chance against Silver in this bout, and it's only Kreese's order to Silver to stand down that ends up saving Johnny from a horrible end. This weakness is also what causes Silver to turn against Kreese at the end of season 4. Up next, Robbie versus Kenny. At number 7, we have Robbie squaring off against Kenny Payne, the boy he pledged to coach for the sake of his friend Sean towards the end of season 4. Robbie is seen training Kenny for the whole season, all of his techniques and tricks that he has learned over the years like a good teacher does, and Kenny took to it surprisingly quickly. During the tournament though, there is a clear size and experience gap between the two. Though Robbie allows Kenny to score points because he doesn't want to embarrass him, things take a surprising turn when he suspects Kenny is taking advantage of him holding back. He then finishes Kenny in a flash, leaving the youngster upset and eventually adopting Cobra Kai's no mercy motto. Now, at number 6, Hawk vs. Brooks. When John Kreese began recruiting, he brought in the same bullies who had wrecked Miguel, Hawk, and Dimitri's lives in high school. Though Hawk first backs down and doesn't wish to go down the revenge lane, it only takes a moment for his training to kick in. As Kreese forces all new recruits to face the old ones, Hawk decides to challenge one of his former bullies to a fight, or more like an absolute carnage. Hawk pummels Brooks until he is a bleeding mess all over the floor, in what could be the most brutal and one-sided beating on the show to date. To show his utter hate and disgust for his bully, Hawk then spits on Brooks' bloodied body before he is never seen again. Now that is what we all call vengeance. Sitting at number 5, Johnny versus the cocky high schoolers. At the beginning of the series, we see that the former local karate star Johnny Lawrence has now grown up to be a broken-down drunk loser who is simply trying to make ends meet and survive. From getting fired from his job for using the wrong bathroom to waking up in a pile of leftovers. The list of public and private humiliations for this former bully are long, and sure to strike pity in everyone's heart, if he wasn't such a jerk, that is. He also doesn't appear to have kept up with his training, at least by the looks of it. However, a few scenes later, it turns out that Johnny might not be as bad as he's made himself appear to be after all. When he witnesses Miguel being harassed by other high school kids in a convenience store parking lot, he unleashes his karate black belt skills and beats the daylight out of the bullies, as he should. Despite the fact that he is several decades older than them and heavily outnumbered, there really is nothing they're able to do to him. Miguel then begs Johnny to teach him karate, and this epic thrashing goes on to become the basis for the entire series. It's interesting because the scene is quite similar to the one in which Mr. Miyagi defends Daniel from Johnny's own group of bullies in the first Karate Kid film, and it shows how Johnny has grown in his sense of justice over the years. Granted, it's a slightly messed up concept of justice, given that he draws first blood in a fight against teenagers, but a flawed hero is still better than a villain. Now, we have Miguel versus bullies. Although this was a bit of a stretch, Miguel is soon seen adapting to karate real quick, and we're not complaining as it's always satisfying to see bullies get what they deserve. Miguel is seen putting his skills to good use when he notices Kyler and a group of bullies harassing Samantha. He intervenes, yelling at them to leave her alone. They obviously don't take this lightly and proceed to attack him. Little do they know that Miguel has been getting lessons from Sensei Johnny. This allowed Zolo Maridueña to display his charm and physical tactical talents by mixing karate with stunts, such as leaping on tables and using everyday items like a food tray as a weapon. The scene creates a frenzied atmosphere. The blows are brutal and pretty one-sided. It's a crowd-pleasing moment that shows how effective Johnny's training really was. At number 3, Hawk vs. Kyler. As one of the primary villains over the previous several seasons, Eli had one of the greatest character arcs in Season 4. Despite the fact that he had already joined Miyagi-Do, his actions as a member of Cobra Kai were also not forgotten. He spent much of the season exploring himself and figuring out how he could better his techniques, all the way up to his All-Valley match versus Kyler. Despite the fact that Kyler had gained training experience both under Kreese and Silver, his cockiness ends up becoming his downfall. Hawk defeats Kyler in the tournament's shortest 3-0 match, realizing he no longer had to define himself as Cobra Kai's bully, and regains his confidence. All this becomes even more special with a kiss from his ex-girlfriend, Moon. Seriously, has Kyler done anything on the series besides being a bully and getting thrashed time and time again? Up next, we have Daniel versus Chozen. Chozen, LaRusso's rival from The Karate Kid Part 2, appears on Season 3 of Cobra Kai to teach Daniel a different side of Miyagi-Do karate. What begins as an awkward conversation over drinks quickly escalates into a fighting lesson when Chozen takes Daniel to his dojo and refuses to allow him to look at the Miyagi-Do scrolls, despite the fact that the two of them are karate cousins, in LaRusso's words. Chozen punches and kicks Daniel into submission with his usual intimidating attitude, displaying a type of karate that doesn't appear to have anything to do with self-defense. Surprisingly, Chozen honks his nose and lets Daniel go at the end of the fight, when he is absolutely frozen and fearing the worst. The intense choreography and back-and-forth action in this fight is fascinating. The backdrop in the Okinawa wilderness adds that credibility to the fight, and the finale is similar to Mr. Miyagi's treatment of John Kreese in the end of Karate Kid 2, also a reversal of the honk from the Karate Kid 2. Sitting at number 1, Daniel versus the hockey team. And at number 1, we have what turned out to be a rather hilarious situation that emerges when Daniel and Johnny decide to learn from one another's karate techniques during Season 4. This collaboration also included learning how to adapt to each other's training methods and tricks. Once Daniel is done training Johnny, he is then trained to fight like an eagle by Johnny. He forces Daniel to walk over hot coals, climb a chain, and punch baseballs out of a pitching machine. The two then proceed to see a local hockey game after a long day of work. However, while there, Johnny makes it clear that Daniel's training was far from complete, and he incites the squad to beat up Daniel after the game, claiming he was a rookie who knew little. Of course, Daniel takes care of business and shows the aggression that Johnny expected, effortlessly beating the 5 hockey players to a pulp. And with that, we come to the end of this list and today's video. See you in the next one.